Yeah. Yeah. I should have done one. Yeah. Julio, you want to go ahead and let it? All right, good evening. The presentation will begin in 5 minutes. Yeah. Larry. Yeah, camera. Do you want this blown up? You don't want to see it, right?
No, I don't just want to hide.
No, when you come and speak, you'll see how you are.
Yeah, that's fine. But when somebody's speaking, I don't know.
Okay. Is this good size when you come and speak, or you want it blown up or small? Is this good?
You have to look.
Yeah.
It's up to here.
So at least congratulations on your. It's good.
Yes.
And do you want to watch this? I can make it smaller or bigger, however you want. That should be fine, right?
That's fine.
Yeah, because there's thing in that too.
They will be seeing it. Here I have to do this.
No. Larry's going to click all the slides.
Including this.
Yep, everything will be from him. So you just hold it down. If you're ready to
Is
go.
that the speaker?
Yep, these are for me. And just make sure you talk loud. The mic is ready to go. You can do it. Check. I'm on mute. I'm on mute. Yeah.
Check.
Loud.
Really?
Yeah.
Jim, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Check. Can you hear me, Larry? Do I have to be louder?
For the people in the room, it's going.
The mic is clear.
Is this good?
Sound good.
Yeah, he hears you good, but just the people in the room are going to need to hear it. You want me to let everyone try it now?
Who said they can hear?
That's Lewis, which is doing the on our.
So, Luis, is it very clear?
You sound wonderful. Thank you.
Yep,
Awesome.
still online, everyone. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Let me just get some here. Yeah, most of this is house. One minute. Larry. Here. 1 minute.
417-1-52-01. FDOT is offering this public meeting both virtually and in person simultaneously, located at the Palm Beach Fire Rescue Station number 3, located at 2185 South Ocean Boulevard, Palm Beach, Florida 33480.
Hard to hear you. Your mic is not working.
Okay, I'll be louder. Okay. This time, I would like to recognize any federal, state, county, or city official who may be present. Please raise your hand if you would like to be recognized.
You just want me to say that I'm here, right?
Yes.
I'm here. Yeah, my name is Lou Crampton. I'm the president pro tem of the Palm Beach Town Council.
Thank
Do we
you.
have anyone online, Louis?
Do we have any commissioners online tonight with us?
No one has raised their hand? Okay.
No questions and no hands. Thank you.
There are two components of tonight's meeting. First, we will present information about the department's plan to repave the existing roadway, improve safety, and enhance the pedestrian and bicycle network within the project corridor. Second, we will provide multiple ways for you to submit questions and comments about this project. We encourage your feedback. Slide 3, please. Here with me tonight are Julio Delgado, Consultant Project Manager from Scalar, Nick Clavello, Consultant Deputy Project Manager from Scalar, John Scarlottis, Public Involvement Coordinator from Scalar, and the other representatives of the project team. Now I'll turn it over to Julio Delgado to continue the presentation. Thank you.
Yeah.
What we do at FDOT, our mission. The mission of the Florida Department of Transportation is to provide a safe statewide transportation system that promotes the efficient movement of people and goods, supports the state's economic competitiveness, prioritizes Florida's environment and natural resources, and preserves the quality of life and connectedness of the state's communities. Our vision, as one FDOT team, we serve the people of Florida by providing a transportation network that is well planned, supports economic growth, and has the goal of being congestion and fatality free. Slide 5, please. The FDOT vision is guided by our compass, with communities at the center of our compass. That is why we are here today. Understanding each community's unique needs and priorities allows us to collaboratively build a transportation system that improves connectivity, enhances the quality of life for our residents and visitors, and creates a shared community vision. Slide 6, please. There are a variety of topics to share with everyone this evening. First, we will go over the technical information and public meeting notifications. Number 2, we will cover the non-discrimination policy and rules of engagement. Number 3, we will cover the project location, overview, and safety improvements. Number 4, we will cover the roadway typical sections. Number 5, we will cover the temporary traffic control plan during construction. Number 6, we will cover the decorative features during construction. Number 7, We will cover the project schedule and the construction cost. Then, after covering the project schedule and construction cost, that will conclude the presentation segment of the meeting. Number 8, we will conduct a virtual and in-person questions and answer session. We will discuss the logistics of the Q&A session later during the presentation. Finally, number 9, we will have a closing remarks and contact information slides to use as reference after the conclusion of the public meeting. Slide 7, please. The next few slides will cover the technical information and public meeting notifications. Slide 8, please. This meeting is being conducted in a hybrid format to provide multiple ways for the public to receive information about the project and provide input. The meeting is being conducted in person, virtually through GoToWebinar, and by telephone. A copy of this presentation and recording will be posted on the project website at https://TI-NY/URL.COM/448/1-SR-1-PROJECT. For those attending virtually and in person, you may also visit the project website by scanning the QR code on the slide. The website address is also on the invitation letters, project handout, and comment forms. Slide 9, please. We are using the GoToMeeting platform for the meeting. There is no cost to the public to log in or dial in to participate in the meeting. For online participants, the GoToWebinar control panel should be visible in the upper right corner of your computer screen. If joining GoToWebinar on your mobile device, simply tap the screen to display the same options. The blue arrows in both images point to where you will find the question box. You can type a comment or question into the question box. Then click Send to submit your comment or question to the project team. The red arrows in both images point to where you can find handouts, documents, and comment forms for this public meeting. Click the handouts icon to view the available handouts, and click on the file name to download. Slide 10, please. Public notice for this hybrid public meeting, including information on how to access the meeting platform, was provided in letters mailed out to property owners and tenants within 300 feet of the project area. In addition, emails to elected and appointed officials, agencies, and other interested groups were sent by the FDOT project manager. Also, an ad was printed and posted in the Florida Administrative Register, as well as information has been shared on the FDOT social media platforms and other notification methods. Slide 11, please. The next few slides will cover the non-discrimination policy and rules of engagement. Slide 12, please. This public meeting was advertised and being conducted in accordance with state and federal requirements, including Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Public participation is solicited without regard to race, color, national origin, age, sex, religion, disability, or family status. Persons wishing to express their concerns about Title VI may do so by contacting Sharon Singayan, FDOT District 4 Title VI Coordinator, by mail at 3400 West Commercial Boulevard, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 33309. By phone at 954-777-4190 or email at shaghaghin@dot.ate.fl.us. You may also contact Stefan Kulikowski, FDOT Statewide Title VI Coordinator, by mail at 605 Suwannee Street, Mail Station 65, Tallahassee, Florida, 32399, 0450, by phone at 850-414-4742, or email at stefan.kouowski@dot.state.fl.us. This information is shown on a display board at the in-person location, on the project website, and in the meeting notifications. Slide 13, please. Just a reminder that this public meeting is being recorded. A copy of this recording will become available after the public meeting on the project website. If you experience technical difficulties, please contact GoToWebinar support at 1-833-851-8340. All virtual attendees will remain muted throughout the meeting. Virtual attendees are also welcome to submit any questions, comments using the GoToWebinar control panel at any time, or use the raise hand button on your control panel, and a member of our team will unmute you during the open discussion. In addition, any questions, comments, feel free to submit them to FDOT Project Manager Vandana Nagol, PE CPM, via email to vana.nagole@dot.state.fl.us after the meeting, and a response will be provided. We will also kindly ask the in-person audience to please be silent during the meeting to prevent any audio discrepancies. Following the presentation, there will be an opportunity to comment and question for comments and questions from all meeting attendees. At this time, I will turn the presentation over to my colleague, Mr. Nick Clovello, who will present the improvements planned on this project.
All right. Can you hear me okay? Yeah, okay. Is that good? Oh, thank you. Okay, let's go over the project details. This is a resurfacing project along State Road A1A from north of Ibis Way to north of Emerald Beach Way, a length of approximately 2.4 miles. This project is within the limits of the town of Palm Beach. Slide 15, please. The project's objective is to repave the existing roadway and improve safety. In addition to repaving the existing roadway, the following are other improvements planned on this project. Widen the paved shoulder from 3 feet wide to 5 feet wide within an existing 6-foot wide shoulder from north of Ibis Way through Sloan's Curve. Provide a 5-foot wide bike lane where feasible and shared lane markings where bike lanes are not feasible. We'll also replace the existing 5-foot wide asphalt sidewalk with 6-foot wide concrete sidewalk. We'll also implement special signing and pavement marking treatments at Sloan's Curve and on Widener's Curve, and improve the existing drainage system. Slide 16, please. This project includes bicycle lanes and shared lane pavement markings, or SHAROs. Bicycle lanes are being provided in the northbound direction from north of Ibis Way to south of Widener's Curve. Then in the southbound direction from north of Ibis Way to north of Sloan's Curve. SHAROs are provided where bike lanes are not feasible, which is from Sloan's Curve to the north end of the project. SHAROs are placed in the center of the travel lane, which lets the bicyclist command the lane and discourages motorists from passing too closely. This placement allows or informs drivers that bicyclists can ride in the center of the lane per state law. Slide 17, please. The existing sidewalk is currently on the west side of State Road A1A from just north of Ibis Way to Sloan's Curve Drive. The 5-foot wide asphalt sidewalk will be replaced with a 6-foot wide concrete sidewalk for a total length of 1,080 feet. The new sidewalk will end at the same location as it does today. Slide 18, please. This graphic illustrates the drainage improvements along State Road A1A adjacent to two properties, 1768 South Ocean Boulevard and 1800 South Ocean Boulevard. The drainage improvements are approximately 270 feet long and involve replacement of a French drain system. Slide 19, please. The special signing and pavement marking treatments planned on Sloan's Curve and on Widener's Curve to improve safety include speed reduction ahead signs, advisory speed signs, painted speed limit pavement markings, reduced speed pavement markings, and internally illuminated pavement markers, raised pavement markers. Examples of those applications are shown on this slide. These improvements address two safety components, speed reduction and lane delineation. Slide 20, please. There are three different typical sections of State Road A1A within the project limits. Segment 1 is from north of Ibis Way to north of Sloan's Curve. Segment 2 is from north of Sloan's Curve to Ocean View Road. And segment 3 is from Ocean View Road to north of Emerald Beach Way. Slide 21, please. The existing segment 1 typical section features two 11 to 12-foot wide travel lanes, 6-foot wide shoulders with a 3-foot wide paved shoulder, and a 5-foot wide asphalt sidewalk on the west side of the road. Slide 22, please. The proposed segment 1 typical section features two 11 to 12-foot wide travel lanes, 6-foot wide shoulders with a 5-foot wide paved shoulder, and a 6-foot wide concrete sidewalk on the west side of the road. Marked bicycle lane markings are proposed on the northbound and southbound paved shoulders. Slide 23, please. The existing segment 2 typical section features two 11-foot wide travel lanes, the southbound paved shoulder with the width ranging from 0 to 3 feet, and the northbound paved shoulder with the width ranging from 5 to 7 feet. Slide 24, please. The proposed segment 2 typical section features two 11-foot wide travel lanes, the southbound paved shoulder with the width ranging from 0 to 3 feet, the northbound paved shoulder with the width ranging from 5 to 7 feet, and marked bicycle lane markings are proposed on the northbound paved shoulder. and shared lane markings will be applied on the southbound travel lane. Slide 25, please. The existing segment 3 typical section features an 11 to 12 foot wide southbound travel lane and 11-foot wide northbound travel lane and paved shoulders on both sides with the width ranging from 1 to 3 feet. Slide 26, please. The proposed segment 3 typical section features an 11 to 12 foot wide southbound travel lane, an 11-foot wide northbound travel lane, and paved shoulders on both sides with the width ranging from 1 to 3 feet. Shared lane markings will be applied on the northbound and southbound travel lanes. Slide 27, please. Construction on this project will be achieved in 3 phases. In phase 1, the sidewalk and drainage improvements will be constructed. Lane closures will occur during daytime and nighttime hours. In phases 2 and 3, the shoulder widening will occur, and then the repaving operations after that. Lane closures will occur during daytime hours. These temporary lane closures provide room for these improvements to be constructed on one side of the road while maintaining traffic on the other side of the road. Then the lane closure will be shifted to the other side to continue construction. Pedestrian traffic will be maintained with a temporary walkway as shown in this slide, while the new sidewalk from north of Ibis Way to Sloan's Curve Drive is being constructed. Access to properties along the corridor will always be maintained. Slide 28, please. Going back to the drainage improvements, in phase 1, the drainage improvements on both 1800 block and 1768 block will be constructed. The drainage area is approximately 270 feet long, and we anticipate construction duration to be approximately 6 weeks. A flagger will be used to maintain traffic operations through the work zone. With this plan, the contractor will temporarily close one lane, excavate to do the drainage improvement or replacement, and then restore the area. Once the lane is restored, the contractor will switch the lane closure to the opposite lane and complete the drainage improvements. Slide 29, please. An objective undertaken in our design was to avoid impacts to the existing decorative features on State Road A1A. Slide 30, please. The design of this project's improvements will conclude by August 2025. The project is expected to be let for construction in December 2025. Estimated construction start is spring of 2026, and its estimated completion is spring 2027. The estimated construction cost is $3.2 million. And this concludes the presentation. I will now turn the presentation over to my colleague, Mr. Julio Delgado. Thank you. Slide 31, please.
We will now begin the questions and answer session. Slide 32, please. There are several methods to provide and submit comments, either in person, virtually, by email, by mail, or by phone. Slide 33, please. Virtual attendees are welcome to ask a question or provide a comment by utilizing the question panel or raise hand button on the GoToWebinar control panel. Once your microphone is unmuted, please provide first your full name and then your question or comment. Your microphone will remain unmuted until the question or comment has been fully addressed. If your question is not responded to during the meeting, a response will be provided in writing following the public meeting. Slide 34, please. Those participating in person may ask a question by completing a speaker card and provide it to a member of the project team. Speaker cards are available at the sign-in table and may also be requested from a member of the project team. If you're currently holding a speaker card, please provide it to a member of the project team. If you have not received a speaker card and you wish to speak and ask a question, please raise your hand so a member of our project team can provide one to you. You may also complete a comment form and submit it in the comment box at tonight's public meeting or by mail to FDOT no later than March 7, 2025. Slide 35, please. Please limit your question or comment to 3 minutes to allow everyone an opportunity to speak. Please state your full name before stating your comment or question. So our first question is from?
Yeah. First of all, let me just ask, is there anyone from the town Public Works Department here?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Actually, I would prefer if you guys spoke first so I can understand where you're coming from. It's just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it there?
For the record, Jason Brinkett, Assistant Director of Public Works. Right again. I'm in Public Works, and we've been working with DOT on possible solutions or options for, there's 3 projects. This is 3 out of the other 2 that have been presented previously. Our position at the town is consistent, that we'd like to see resurfacing, and we're all for resiliency. As far as striping in the road, again, we've sent multiple letters, and our position stays the same, that the shared lanes don't seem to be an improvement in safety. So we'd like to continue to work with DOT on options. We'd like to see consistency through the corridor. Right now you have dedicated bike lanes that go into an area, Widener's curve, that pushes bikes into a dangerous situation. And then traveling north along the shared bike, pedestrian, car area that we're concerned with. So we'd like to continue our discussions with DOT to see if there's some alternative ways to work together. Understanding you have guidelines and rules, but we'd like to keep the uniformity in town and not have interruptions or confusion between motorists and cyclists.
Hi, I'm Lou Crampton. I'm President Pro Tem of the Town Beach Town Council, and I live just about 300 yards from here. So I'm a South End resident. So first of all, I want to thank the state DOT for being here and giving us the opportunity to comment on this new segment of work. And if I may also thank you as well for some earlier work you did to allow us to make some improvements to our golf course crossing. You recall, we've had a couple of deaths there in the last 6 years, and we've been able to, Public Works working with DOT, we've been able to make some improvements there. I do want to take this opportunity to point out to the state that the town continues to oppose the segment that is of widening that we've already given us a public hearing on, the widening of the road between the Lake Worth Bridge and Ibis Isle Road to accommodate bike lanes. I see some bicyclists back here. Welcome. But I want to point out that from the town's point of view, small groups are fine. But what we have is large pelotons of 30 or 40 people, some of them riding, blocking the way and creating a safety hazard, particularly as they speed along at 20 to 30 miles an hour, coming up to the Sloan's curve. For us, that's a safety hazard, and it's a problem for us as drivers here. I say to you all and to others who are bicyclists here, some of them are bad actors. Some of them create problems for us. They seem to purposely block us as we ride these roads, and we can't stand that. Fortunately, we have an active police department, and they do take action when they can confront these kinds of situations. But it is not a good look, and it is not a safe situation for us. So we continue to oppose, and I say we oppose this on the vote of the town council and the work of our public works department, and our attempts to even go above you to try to stop that work from being done. But we'll see what happens. But with respect to this particular segment, which goes from Ibis Isle north to Emerald Way, I would say that we would support that work, especially the widening at the corner for safety. Even though we don't want to see the bike lanes there, certainly widening that road is a good deal for everyone. The illumination at both Widener's Curve and at Sloan's Curve is certainly a good thing. We certainly would like to see that. The drainage situation does need to be fixed. All of us know as we're coming down the top end of A1A and that big puddle that we have to get through and the water spraying all over the place. That's not a good thing. So we don't like that. So if you can fix that drainage situation there, that would be fantastic. And of course, the signage is a major improvement. We certainly support that. Let me just say this, that coordination with our town public works department is imperative in this project, as Jason just pointed out. And any concerns that any of you may have with respect to this project, please get in touch with me. I'm your representative down here in District 1 and Town Council, and I certainly will be making it clear to my colleagues on the council if any of you have issues with this. But in terms of my own assessment of the situation, I think this particular segment is a positive development, and we certainly would welcome that work. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. We want to give the people online an opportunity to ask questions as well. Louis, do you have a first person?
Yes, I do. This question is from Carolee Weinston. She has asked, since I am at 2295 South Ocean Boulevard, and it is apparent this is north of Ibis, this will not affect us south of Ibis on South Ocean? Question. Since I am at 2295 South Ocean Boulevard, and it's apparent that this is north of Ibis, this will not affect us south of Ibis on South Ocean.
Okay. Yeah.
It sounds like that. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, if the residence property is south of the project, then this project, yeah, there's a project to the south that there'll be.
There is a project to the south.
Exactly.
That starts this summer.
Yeah, it starts this summer. Yeah.
It goes from Lake Ave, just south of Lake Ave, north to Ibis.
Yeah, so there's
So
a,
that project will impact you.
yes, exactly, which I don't think she could hear you, but yeah, there's a south project from Lake Ave to Ibis Way that will affect you. There will be some lane closures and construction starts in the summer. So let's see, I have some details on that.
The follow-up question to that is,
Yes.
Carly would like to also know if there's any possible chance of periodic crosswalks like Manalapan has?
Manalapan, yeah, okay.
Would there be any installed crosswalks there?
On the southern project? There are a couple,
Is there more?
there are a couple crosswalks.
But are new ones being added?
Okay, I have a John David Corey who would like to speak.
One second.
This is Mike Roach with Town of Palm Beach Public Works. There are 2 crosswalks with the southern project. One will be at the par 3, where there'll be a hybrid signal put there for the crosswalk. And then there will be another one put up at Phipps Ocean Park. That crosswalk will have a standard signal there, or standard crosswalk signal.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. We'll take another question now from the floor. Suzanne Riley. Is your question related to the follow-up or different?
Yes, Carly basically says thank you.
Yeah.
And that concludes her questions.
Yes, Suzanne Riley.
We do have 4 more online participants who have their hands raised. I don't know if you gentlemen want to cover those now.
One second, Lou. We're going to alternate.
Thank you.
Hi there, can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm Susan Riley from Worth Avenue. I'd like to read something from the FDOT website. It says, FDOT's continuing mission, provide a safe transportation system that promotes the efficient movement of people and preserves the quality of life. The department is committed to building a transportation system that not only fits the current needs of Florida residents, but also enhances mobility. These projects taking place at the same time as the closure in front of Mar-a-Lago, which is creating monstrous traffic jams for anyone going north or south, is sheer insanity. The traffic will now be diverted across the Lake Worth Bridge to Federal Highway, to Flagler, to Olive, to Dixie. With the construction that is now taking place on Flagler Drive with all the high rises, what used to take me 15 minutes to get to work from the Lake Worth Bridge to Worth Avenue takes now between 1 and 2 hours. If you continue to drive through this insane project, you can expect the worst traffic jams the county has ever seen. I beg you to put this off until after the president leaves office. I have spoken to one of the gentlemen here who has told me that this is a done deal, that this meeting is gratuitous, that this project cannot be put off nor readjusted. So thank you all for your time, but I'm afraid this is going to go through. And I hope that FDOT will take into consideration what I have said. And maybe you can all be made to drive that drive twice a day so that you can really see what your project is doing. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your comment.
We'd like to take, you want to respond?
No.
Okay. Yeah, we'd like to take a comment online, please, Louis.
Yes, I have a question. I have a John David Corey with his hand raised. John, we will go ahead and unmute your microphone.
Good evening, John David Corey, 426 Australian Avenue. I also run a group called Palm Beach Walks here on the island. Sorry, I can't be there with you guys tonight. Couple of questions for you. First of all, you talked about crosswalks, and I know there's 2 crosswalks that are going to go in, and I'll say in the southern section, south of Ibis. And I'm wondering if the DOT can study one more spot within the bounds of this project. The path is going to be redone, the concrete path in concrete, the walking path, and it stops at 2000, which is Sloan's Curve. It's a very big development there with its own tennis courts and townhouses and condos. And I'm wondering if there's an opportunity there to put a crosswalk at the path's termination to pull people into and back into that condominium project. I think there's 200 or so units in there at least. So that could be a real value added for those folks. So perhaps the DOT could study that. The second point I have is the area between Sloan's Curve and Widener's Curve. I'd question what the right of way is that the DOT has control of there. It does seem strange. You're going to have something must be up because you're only having a bike lane in one direction. And you're striping the line at the road as double yellow, so it's non-passing. And you've instructed us that it's going to be a bicycle that can use the full lane. And if folks need to go from the south end of town up to Midtown, are they going to be forced to be behind a single bicyclist for 5 miles? How does that work? Do they cross over the double yellow line? I think we should think about that a little bit more. And the last piece on that stretch as well is right now we have these unsightly Jersey barriers on the east side. Will those also be refitted or replaced or reset so that they're even and clean with part of the project? So those would be my questions at this time.
Nick, yeah, you want to address?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so you had 3 concerns. So let's go through those.
Thank you, sir.
Sloan, okay.
Crosswalk.
Yes, exactly. So we looked at that situation right where the sidewalk ends to see if we could put a crosswalk there. So a couple of things are needed to do that. A study has to be done, a traffic study, to first off warrant the crosswalk at that location. And that's just one thing that we're required to look into. It has to do with destinations, like is there a destination for pedestrians to walk to connect to, and what type of traffic would justify putting a crosswalk there. Obviously, it would help with safe crossing of the street. But we also look at the connectivity of the sidewalk. And right now, there's no sidewalk there. There's no sidewalk coming from the condominium. There's no sidewalk going on the other side of the road. You know what I mean? So that was kind of our justification for not putting a crosswalk there. We're sending the pedestrian across the street. If they don't live at the condo, where are they going? So that's something we looked into. The next one is from Sloan's Curve to Widener's Curve. It is very constrained there. It's 40 feet of right of way. We have to fit 2 11-foot lanes. Shoulder. We got to fit utilities in that area, signage, those barrier walls that you're alluding to. There's not a lot of room there to widen the asphalt to provide bike lanes or to improve that area further. So what we're doing in that area is we're using the footprint that's currently there, the existing width of the asphalt. And then the other question was about the Jersey barrier. Right now, the proposed improvements are maintaining the Jersey barrier as they are and in place. There's a slight adjustment after Sloan's Curve to close some of the gaps there and improve the guardrail. We're replacing the guardrail at Sloan's Curve, but that's about it when it comes to the Jersey barrier.
And could I just ask a quick follow-up on the if a driver is heading north or south in that section, and there's a biker in front of them, what is the DOT's position on how that person gets around?
Okay, so if you're going northbound, in that section between Sloan's Curve and Widener's Curve, there's a dedicated bike lane
Correct.
for the bicyclists to be. So if there's a bike lane, by law, the bicyclist is supposed to be in the bike lane. Now, going south, the Sharrow we're putting Sharrows in the southbound travel lane from Widener's Curve to Sloan's Curve. And then right when you get to Sloan's Curve, there's going to be a bike lane for the southbound bicyclists. So between Widener's Curve and Sloan's Curve, how you would navigate that, that's the question, right? So the Sharrow allows for the cyclist to be in the center of the lane. And so there is a law that allows, and I'm not an attorney, so I can't speak everything about the law, but it does say that the cyclist they have the ability to command the lane. They can be in the center of the lane, but if they are not moving at the speed of the vehicles around them, they should move over to the right to allow vehicles to pass. That's
They certainly don't do it on the yellow line. They don't in Florida.
so. Say that again.
The cars can cross the double yellow line, the donut pass line, to pass a cyclist. Cannot pass it. Big lots, they should travel as part of the right.
They're crossing over the double line. I think it's like hard. Right now, you're south of there. The cars go on the double yellow line.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does that address your question?
Well, for now, yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right, we'll take the next question here on the floor. I believe is it Suzanne Meyer?
I am going to be polite. I am going to be polite, but politically incorrect. Our area, especially from south of Sloan's Curve south to the Lake Worth Bridge, I feel has been referred to as the Gaza Strip. I feel that we are being harassed, and I feel that this project just has no common sense. I'm talking about south of Sloan's Curve south. We are already just holding our own traffic lights, and we are congested, and we have had one accident, but that was unusual, of course. But we are on the narrowest part of Palm Beach. For this to be done to us is just impossible. We are, and then we have the Phipps Park coming in with more traffic coming down and busing coming into Phipps Park with not enough parking spaces at Phipps Park and not enough beach control where people will be coming onto our beach who are being bussed in. Also, the traffic of people being bussed into Phipps Park. Well, I'm sorry, but it's because of my hearing aids. I can't turn it on any more than I've already, my phone is off. Okay. The narrowing of bike lanes, the increase in bike lanes and the still one lane each way is not adequate for cars. We are not Beijing, and we do not have that much bike lanes that we need to have more bike lanes and less traffic, less problem with cars. We have more problem with cars.
I believe that's my main point. The other thing is to be taking away from our area for with grass, taking the grass that we have from our buildings to make more bike lanes is just absurd, because not north of Sloan's Curve, but south of Sloan's Curve is absurd, because that's our water absorbing area. And we should not have to have that taken away from the narrowest strip of Palm Beach on the island. The other danger is if you increase bike lanes on our area, so Sloan's Curve and south to Lake Worth Bridge, then when bikes go down to Lake Worth Bridge, past that, they're going to go back to one bike lane, and that's going to be horrendous for them and dangerous. So there are a lot of things that have to be reconsidered, I believe. And I hope that you will reconsider and not target our area and harass our area, because we're already harassed traffic-wise. And danger and safety-wise.
Yeah, thank you so much for your comment.
We'll go ahead and take the next question online. Please make sure to limit to 3 minutes so we can get everyone an opportunity. Lewis?
Yes, we have the next question from Jeffrey.
No, Lewis, hold on. We're going to respond to that.
I just want to note a couple of things that you mentioned. Can you hear me? Yeah. There we go. So you're right. The road, the corridor is narrow. Like I said, 40 feet of right of way is pretty consistent through that whole stretch there. Just so you know, we aren't narrowing the lanes at all. The lane width as it is today is staying the same. And then secondly, you noted the grass south of Sloan's Curve. That is where we're doing the widening. The shoulder that's there today, the full width of the shoulder is 6 feet currently. And the paved shoulder is actually 3 feet. So there's only 3 feet of paved shoulder right now out of the 6 feet. We're just widening it 2 feet. And what that provides is consistency from the south section through to the north section. That's what we're looking at here from like a corridor wide perspective. You know, how do we provide improvements that are consistent throughout A1A, throughout the town, and throughout the state highway.
So you're losing green all the way through, is what you're saying.
I know.
Just to be consistent, you're losing the green from the south all the way through the north, if I understand correctly.
Yeah.
You're losing the green from Sloan's,
yes, from Sloan's Curve.
Sloan's Curve all the way down to Lake Worth Bridge. And what you're suggesting is that this project, you're widening because you want to be consistent with the other project, which already took all the green away, just to confirm.
That, yes, roughly. The paved shoulder, the shoulders are going to be consistent with what happened in the south section. So what they have is they have a 5 foot wide paved shoulder. We're going to have a 5 foot wide paved shoulder for as much as we can to have also those bike lanes.
There's no common sense to taking that away from us. This is our front yard. This is where we have signs. This is where we have lights. This is where we have this is our front yard.
We're not affecting landscape. Just to be clear, we're not affecting landscape in that area. That's sod. That is a sod area. Which.
And not only that, the traffic caused by your nonsensical taking away of our area and messing with our area will be impossible. Why does it have to be widened a foot? Why can't you just leave it the way it is?
So it's widening from 3 feet to 5 feet on both sides of the road, and that's from Sloan's Curve south. And
we all had this conversation with Bandana a year ago.
Yeah.
The entire community came out. I don't know if you were present at that meeting, and we thanked Bandana for listening and hearing us. She's been hearing my emails for a year. Everybody in that last meeting, the community stood up. There were 100 people that stood up and said, please don't take our green. That was for the south. They said, please don't take our green.
Right,
And
right.
now you're here just saying that you're going to take the green from the north because you decided to take it from the south. It just seems odd that there was not the appropriate consideration given to community feedback,
Right.
which was very, very strong about not reducing green.
Okay.
Well, but you're also only doing it for a small number of cyclists versus all of the community that's here. We live here. The cyclist
Right.
drives through. I live here. I walk there every day. Why am I gonna walk through all this paper?
And you're doing that for a small minority. The bikers have a very small minority in your.
And by the way, they don't live here. We live here. We're residents, we're taxpayers, we're contributing to our town. The biker who comes in from wherever,
Yes.
why should that person have a right over me in terms of my quality of life?
Let's take a minute here. Let's take a minute here. So we're here to hear your concerns and address your questions. I can't address everybody at the same
Let
time.
me respond to one of the questions.
Thank you.
For the south section of the project, originally the project had a bigger widening section to provide 5 foot unpaved and 5 foot paved, which had a major widening. That is what we have presented in the first public meeting. We had a lot of comments from you. We heard you. We listed all your concerns. However, we had to accommodate bicycle lane wherever the speed is less than 45 miles per hour. So after considering all your comments and everything, what we have done was we just tried to accommodate within our the unpaved shoulder that was designated in the as-built plans. So we just used the 2 feet unpaved, and that is what we have paid. So we have accommodated all the comments, but somehow we could do whatever we could, but this is the only thing we cannot change this. And that's why we have, technically we are not widening, but we are actually using the unpaved shoulder and keeping only 1 foot unpaved the way it is right now.
But just to follow up, there's a whole section of road where you're not widening at all, right? So you're not widening at all past Widener's curve. Like, I don't understand why, if you can make a rule there that you don't have to widen, why did you have to widen in the south or widen in the north? I'm just trying to understand.
Okay, wherever there is no space to provide the bicycle lane, we are providing sharrows there. So we can able to widen wherever we could, and wherever we cannot able to widen. So we try to provide some other solutions to that roadway section.
What do we have to do? Do we have to march? Do we have to bring the footprints? Do we have to do flappers? The noisies that make the rules? What do we have to do to make our voice heard on the south end here? You're not consistent. You're not consistent. No. You're taking on a green space. So we decide walking the way it is. This park is enough. We're bringing danger into our area. We're bringing safety into our area. Bikes we don't need any more bike lanes. We have a walk, we have sidewalks, we have adequate roadways. But we don't have, we will not have this together with this park and everything that you are going to do to us. You want to do
Give a microphone
It's going to be super slick and people will go faster, not slower. Right now, they have to go slow because it's narrow. They will be going faster, more dangerous, more speeding. Do you not understand this? I would like you to come up and drive at rush hour from my condo up to the southern route. I would like you to do that every day. But then drive down south up from, and you'll see it's fine. Going south from Sloan's Curve to the Lake Forest Bridge, it's fine. It doesn't need to be. It doesn't make common sense to do anything there. But if you go north
of that. That's where the problem is, and that's what you're changing, and it needs to be changed. But Sam, you're targeting an unnecessary kind of, and you're harassing us by doing this. It's going to be untenable.
Let's take a second here. Let's take a second here. We can only address one person at a time. So if we can keep going with the microphone. I can't answer everyone's question at the same time. Please.
We also got to keep it to 3 minutes.
We have to keep it at 3
We have
minutes.
another
So
10 here and another 3 or 4.
let's keep it with the speaker cards and the folks online. And I'd like to address your comments and questions.
Yes.
If you're biking in a narrower area, then you're allowed to park 1,000 feet or whatever you're talking about, and everyone spreads out, they're gonna keep spread out as they continue on, because a lot of these people haven't ridden the road before.
Are you talking about a Peloton?
It's not to come back in, it's just, once you've got more room, you're gonna continue to want to use more room. That's why I don't understand the purpose of it either.
Are you talking about a Peloton? Are you talking about that big group of cyclists?
I'm talking about any group.
I think she just-
I've been
explaining
driving
in general,
when there've been
yeah.
4 bicyclists taking up the whole road. And that causes frustration. Then the driver tends to drive around the bicyclist eventually, and they're head on in the opposite lane. I mean, I just don't see the purpose as a benefit to the bicyclist either.
It's a
I
no.
mean, I just say keep it the way it is, and they know where they have to be, and then we don't have these other issues.
Let's go over the need for the project. Let's start there. So the segment of A1A was last resurfaced in 2006. So the existing pavement is ready to be repaved. And when FDOT comes through to do a repaving project, they look at what are the issues. So one of the issues that we already touched on is the drainage problem. So we're addressing the drainage problem. Right.
We support the paving, we support the drainage.
Thank you. And then we have to look at the safety issues. So there's crashes that have been recorded within this corridor, specifically at Sloan's Curve and Widener's Curve. So with this project, we're looking to improve that. Or we're doing a lot. Well,
we got to get moving because people are getting antsy.
okay. Well, what it comes down to is the law makes us have to look at bicyclists and pedestrians and consider them on this corridor. So these improvements, that's how we're doing that. And we're doing it consistently from the south section through in our section and then north.
Let's. The United States cuts us off every time he's in town, and we're prisoners. We're prisoners to barges coming through because of a project going on the Intercoastal. We're prisoners because the Coast Guard requires we move our bridges up and down twice an hour. We're prisoners because the Secret Service closes down our road. Why do you have to do this now? It makes no sense.
Who do we have for the next comment? And I'm not trying to ignore her, but who's the next person to speak?
Yeah, then Louis, who's going to be the next person online, please?
Yeah.
Yes, we have Jeffrey Brodsky. Jeffrey, I'm going to go ahead and unmute your mic and you'll be allowed the 3 minutes to speak. Thank you.
Hi, thank you. This is Jeffrey Brodsky. I'm the president of the 2000 Condominium Association and the Sloan's Curve Homeowners Association. I'm very concerned about, and this is really a question and a comment. The question is, what have you done to consider what is the effect of closing down one lane during season of the 26-27 season, as I understand it, on A1A? I had the pleasure of making a left turn on Lake Avenue onto A1A to go up north on A1A 2 weeks ago, and the Four Seasons was having a slight overage in their valet parking. It took me a half hour to get about 100 feet. And if you think that it's going to be a good idea to do a closure of one lane and implement this project during the season, I think it's a really big mistake, unless you could do it at night. So if you can tell me what you've done to understand what the implication will be of trying to implement this project during season, I'd appreciate knowing what you've done.
Yes, definitely.
Thank
So what we do before we can propose a lane closure is we have to do a lane closure analysis. What that does is it looks at the traffic. I know traffic is a big issue, and a couple folks have noted that. And so we take into account historical traffic, and then we can make a determination on the traffic control, when the lanes can be closed and whatnot. But with these projects that have already started in construction, FDOT is in close coordination with the town for lane closures and how to make that a little bit more seamless.
We will be paralyzed. We won't be seamless. It'll be paralyzed.
Go north because of the closures at Mar-a-Lago.
With
In fact, they stop traffic in front of Phipps Park so they can inspect trucks or turn them around. We face problems. We get up there, sometimes the road is closed. And on top of that, you're going to do one lane during. You guys out of your mind. Wait till he's out of office. Excuse me, and there is another elephant in the room here. There's another elephant in the room here. They are completely redoing Phipps Park. They're starting this summer. There you go. Use trucks, which means back and forth. How nuts can this be? We've got that. And also, I'm looking at your schedule.
Yeah.
The south part that you advocate from Sloan's Curve down to from Ibis down to Lake Fork Road, supposed to be starting this summer, which is when Phipps Park is going to be redone this summer. And there's a certain orange gentleman who is coming in here every weekend and they're blocking the roads. This, excuse me, is nuts. Nuts. I beg your pardon, folks. I respect you. You do a lovely job. This is crazy.
And so
It also makes it impossible for you to complete your work because the Phipps Ocean Park work that's happening and is slated to happen, you'll never get your trucks through. There's no way.
when is Phipps?
Happening this summer.
This summer? Okay, so our project doesn't start until next summer. Next summer. Oh, South Park. Okay, the South Park. You're right.
And they've been kicking this down the road for the last couple of years.
The Phipps Ocean Park project will be starting this summer. That one will be ending by the time this one starts.
That's what you think, perhaps.
Okay. I got prints and books and I can sell you for that.
As it's set in the schedule. I know things can happen, things
And
can
the
change.
final
but things set in
stone,
stone. But the intent,
Drain.
we're trying to work with DOT, try to minimize impacts also.
That's true.
We understand the collaboration and we appreciate the collaboration. The only issue is that with the projects being so close together and with all of the delays that we've had with Phipps Ocean Park, it's likely there will be further delays. So I would hope, and
Can you
again,
postpone the project until President is at all? That's what we're asking.
I can't make that decision. But senior management is.
So we need to talk to the president, is that what it is, or what do we need to talk to?
No, when we.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, there you go.
Go
Because I
ahead.
think you guys, might want to make the public happy, and this is not making anybody happy, so who is this for?
it's safety. It's also about safety.
Yeah, no, I mean, so I think going back to, what Nick said earlier, I think the biggest thing right now, like with delay, obviously the concern that we have with this corridor is obviously to say the pavement condition, because you have to, to extend its service life to be, for, the quality of ride on the corridor. But also the drainage thing is the biggest concern. And I know that's been something that's been shared with
But it's only 6 weeks.
That's
No,
with the traffic, yeah.
But isn't it possible for you to do the drainage and just get the drainage
That's
done
it.
first? Just because that's a priority and
Yeah, it's a-
do the other things a little later?
Those are things that,
Things are very, with regards to the work that's being done, the drainage is the most labor intensive.
But that's only
Right.
So that's
6
what we're
weeks.
trying to, and that's an approximate.
And it's during the summer, you can do it during the summer.
It's the
Right.
very first thing that we're addressing on the project.
the way this being right, exactly, yeah, it's the sequencing where that drainage is being emphasized first, and then the remaining is more the pavement resurfacing and the signage with the curves for the safety. Yeah.
You probably don't, you don't understand the problems that are caused by the situation at Mar-a-Lago.
Mar-a-Lago, right? Yeah.
On top of that, you add road work and the work on this part. It's crazy.
Right. And so, I mean, keep in mind, you know, when we started this project, obviously this was prior to those things. So obviously this item now with the president and the closures at A1A, it's something now that it's coming to our project, and it's something that we have talked with the department, and something we'll continue talking with the department now, given the input this evening, to see what options we want to with as far as how we
Can this work be done overnight in off-peak hours?
That's something that we'll talk, that's something we'll talk with the department and the town to go over those items, and then there will be a follow-up feedback on that.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
It's the domino.
Mhm.
It goes all the way up to the North Bridge. Traffic is completely stymied.
Right.
If you want to talk about a safety hazard, that is a safety hazard.
Right.
So you're just adding more problems that
Mhm.
waiting will help us all.
Right. Understood.
Okay, we got to get to the next one. Still have like another
No, I
10
appreciate
of
the
these.
thank you for your comment,
Yeah.
all of you. Thank you so much.
The next comment comes from Britt Howard. You here still? Nope. The next one from Lawrence.
First of all, thank you so much for listening to us. And again, thank you for having this meeting. And we understand that this is a collaboration. I'm just going to make two quick comments first, and then I have a question. I would ask you to please consider the impact of the sharrows. The impact of the sharrows meaning that I'm driving kids to school and there's one biker in front of me, and that biker is in the center of the lane. It's going to take me a really long time. As my neighbor has commented, it used to take me 5 minutes to get to school. It now takes me 45 minutes to get to school because of what's going on at Mar-a-Lago. When Phipps Ocean Park comes, it's only going to get worse. The other comment that I would like to make too, and we already talked about green preservation, but the biggest thing in terms of safety, and again, for those of us that live here and are driving every single day with kids, with families, these bikers that are 4, 5, 6 across, they're not observing the safety regulations. You are inviting them to widen. By widening these lanes, you are inviting them to go 3 across. You're inviting them to go 6 across. There is so much safety at risk here because of what is potentially coming. I would ask you to consider the safety implications, not just for the bikers, but also for the drivers, because we've had challenges. The last, and this is my question for you, what is it that determines why you do a sharrow? My understanding is that you're saying, or at least Vandana explained, that if there isn't sufficient space on the side of the road to widen it for a bike lane, that you have to move to a sharrow. But in a condition like this, which is not safe for anybody, if you begin to sort of have too many people in the same place. Why wouldn't the Department of Transportation say, you know what, maybe this isn't the place that bikers should be going around that curve. Maybe this isn't the place where we have to be at the moment. We're going to create really, really unsafe situations. So question specifically was, how do you designate the sharrows, particularly in an instance here where there really is not an opportunity to have a sharrow?
Okay.
We have to provide the sharrows.
But again,
But
what
how
about
it-
the impact of that having on all of us, right? Because that means the traffic slows well below 45.
And it's funny, it's creative when you are creating new roads, you know, I think that there's no change.
I get it, I understand. And also, we're actually closing.
We're going to move on to the next person. This is Nathan Silverstein.
I've owned the property on the north side of Close Curve for more than 50 years. There have been accidents over the years coming south. And it's only now that for the first time, anyone is ever suggesting that there be a sign several hundred feet or whatever is required north of the curve, suggesting that the speed limit should be slowed down, that this curve coming any accidents. And it's the first time I've ever seen a slight suggestion of even agreeing with that just a warning, go slow, your speed limit is reduced before you get to the curb. And I would like to see that be enforced and save a lot of accidents. There have been many accidents over the years. So I hope that, that these signs will be put up, that there'll be adequate notification, whatever's necessary to reduce the speed and prevent further accident. Thank you very much.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I can talk to that. So the reverse curves where we're implementing some safety improvements, such as what you just noted, with regards to speed reduction, pavement markings. We're putting the speed limit on the pavement. We're replacing the signs, making them up to the current standards. So there'll be brand new signs. They'll have the reflectivity of a new sign. The placement has been adjusted. And then as you approach the curve, you're going to have internally illuminated RPMs or raised pavement markers. They're at Widener's Curve today. So when you traverse through Widener's Curve at night, you can see that there's lights on the ground that delineate the lanes. So
Are they going to have that
at Sloan's Curve, it'll also be. Yeah, so that's a safety improvement that we're adding.
And the signs are improved. The issue is the bicycles and the safety issues. And then the problems of Mar-a-Lago and Fifth Park. You've got to put this off. You've got to put this off for 2 or 3 or 4 years.
It also seems like there's more need for further consideration.
There's also barges going through for the project on the intercoastal.
Which is
I
just
mean,
starting.
it's like, it's just so much that we're just trapped.
It's going to be unmanageable.
Do you think that the sheriffs make lights onto the area? What? Well, if it's sheriff, the existence of the sheriff, you think that brings cyclists? So they're already there. We don't want more. You don't want it? No. But Shero is going to make more? Yeah, I'm going to invite them here. Everyone agree with that? That sounds like nonsense.
No. I'll just man the.
And they have the right to do the sheriff.
You got it right?
No,
we just have the right to find out.
Oh, yeah, but it should be have the right to take over the whole
All the sheriff needs
Hello.
All right, one moment. Yeah,
I'd like to address the conversation.
Yeah,
about
let's have it.
shares.
One moment. One moment.
So my name is Mike Melendez.
Let him speak, please, everyone.
One
So
moment.
I'm part of the DOT team. I'm out of the Office of Modal Development. I'm the interim bike ped and retreats coordinator. I just heard the discussion. Sharos do not provide any more rights than the bicyclists already have. They don't afford anybody any rights. So bicyclists can take the lane when there's not a bicycle facility, which is the case here. But the Sharo represents an indication to other users that bicycles have that right. So it's basically informing the vehicles that they can already do that.
Is that making common sense?
Well, it actually is done, the sharrows, the way they're placed, it's a national standard. It's a best practice. And so we're not planning to do anything
It
that's.
seems like you're placing them in specific places, meaning you could decide in this particular dangerous curve that you could say, I'm not putting a sharrow, right?
Whereas there is just not marked. The sharrow is there, it's not.
No, if we're talking about the curve, I guess we're talking about the section north of Sloan's Curve where there's sharrows, right? So those sharrows, there's a criteria that is followed about, the spacing of them. The fact that based on the lane width where they're placed, like you can't place them, you shouldn't place them off to the side. They need to be placed in the middle of the lane. And it's really for the drivers, and they're not, the spacing is meant to be that it's not overwhelming a driver. So, sometimes there's a lot of signs and a lot going on. And so the sharrows are supposed to be a simple indication that bicycles can be in the lane so that drivers are aware of that. And that's a state law that they're allowed to do that. So I just wanted to clarify that. Yeah.
So just so I understand, just as a follow-up, so what you're saying is, if there's a bike lane along that long strip, right, just along the ocean, there's a narrow bike lane, but there's a bike lane. You're saying that the biker still can occupy the road and hold all the traffic behind them? Just asking.
No, bicyclists should, if there's a bicycle facility, they should be using the bicycle facility. If they encounter an obstruction or other issue, if they're not able to stay within that area, they can take the lane.
So why the need for the sharrow if the rule is that they need to be in the bike lane anyway?
Well, the sharrow wouldn't be in a place where there's already a bike.
Well, what I saw on your map, it looks like coming south, it's the middle of the road coming south.
Yeah, the sharrows would be in the middle of the road, but you shouldn't expect to see a sharrow and then a marked bike lane next to it.
But there is a bike lane again.
It's one direction, the northbound direction has a bike lane, and the southbound direction has a sharrow.
Right, okay, so we're talking about the section where there's a
Between the two
bicycle
curves.
lane.
Between the two curves, between the two
There
curves,
is
yeah.
an existing bike lane heading south now.
No,
No, not currently, yeah.
There's actually signage that says for the bicyclists can share the road. Right now, there's already signage that says that the cyclists can be in the lane.
Is that,
It's already.
is that your interpretation of the law? Or do you get a legal interpretation?
Well, I'm not a lawyer, but if you read the Florida statute, if you read the Florida statute, it's pretty clear that about what rights a bicyclist has, and also what laws they have to follow. We talk a lot about the different types of riders. The Peloton, you're not supposed to ride too many abreast, so you can't have too many side by side. I think it's two abreast, unless they can't occupy the bicycle lane.
But I think Herc can sort of give you an indication of some of the
Many
challenges.
of our residents don't even like bicycles on the road, but you are correct. Under the current state law, they're allowed to use the road. I think what the town's objection is, and I don't speak for every resident that I've heard in the last meeting, the community forums that we've had at town hall, in direction from our mayor and council, who's unanimous. And I'm sure you can find someone in the community that likes dedicated bike lanes and the sparrows in the road. I have yet to meet one. I think that's the purpose of this meeting, to get community input. But honestly, it seems like there's a resistance to take this input and redesign the project. There are good parts to this project, and in many times, great partners on a lot of things. Work with us on timelines and things of that nature. The drainage, the town can support that as long as we can figure out the appropriate time to do it, because this town's crippled right now. It's a barrier out, and in the area where you're working, there's only one lane going north and one lane going south. And these people can't move. And sometimes they can't even leave their house, because that's how bad the traffic is within this community. We object to the encouraging the use, which I believe is not a law that I'm aware of. I'm not an attorney either. It's a preference. It's a preference for DOT to put those markings on the roadway. No law that I'm aware of that requires it. I think you put in the interests of individual bicyclists before the 50,000 motorists that are in this town using our roadways. It doesn't make sense. I think it creates an unsafe condition. They have a right to be there. They're on the roadway. Not everyone likes it. But they can stay on the shoulder. And this has been working without these improvements, as you call them. We don't see the need to make these changes. The community is against it.
Preference.
Yes.
Use the word law. Are you saying that the Sharrows is a preference?
Yes.
Well, if it's a preference, we don't want it.
And so it is going to encourage, there's a psychological component to this, not just on the engineering design, what you guys are, that's what you focused on, right? There's a psychological component to this. If you see those markings on the roadway and you see it in other cities, people are encouraged to not use the shoulder like they are here. They're encouraged to use the shoulder instead of the roadway. They'll drive down the center of the road. Speed limits between 25 and 35 through that stretch where you're doing the work. And unless you're an elite bicyclist, and I'm a former cyclist, I don't think someone can sustain that speed, but they probably not even know that law exists. I say keep it as it is. Law exists, and the people that want to ride their bicycle, they can ride it on the shoulder. Let's not put them in the center of the street. Let's not encourage them to ride in the middle of the street. We're in a special time right now in town. That's what we mentioned the Bowling Fish Cove project, blockade of Mar-a-Lago. We have other community projects that's park undergrounding. I think responsive government should listen to the people that live here. And I have yet to meet one, I'm sure they exist, that would support this.
Just keep us safe.
And what about the bicyclists, the 2 cars with gas?
Oh, you're gonna have to cross over the W and go into oncoming traffic and try to get back. And hopefully you don't kill the bicyclists and kill each other.
Yeah.
So I do want to say you guys have been gentlemen. I just don't agree with the process because this is how many times we've met. Many times. You met with the mayor and I, my team.
Yep.
I've heard the community input for several years now. It hasn't changed. You could find someone that probably
It's only stronger.
they don't live in this town. They live and work in this town. They're not using those roadways.
Thank you so much.
Basically, you have town manager, our public works department, the town council and the mayor all agreeing that this work, at least with respect to the creation of lanes for more bicycles and share roads and all that, is not wanted and not necessary. With respect to the illumination of the curves, that's a safety issue, and that's certainly an enhancement. With respect to the drainage issue, that's certainly an enhancement. With respect to the signage, as this gentleman pointed out, he's not here anymore, that's certainly an enhancement. But with respect finally to the scheduling of the project, you need to take into account the needs of the town. You need to coordinate with the town manager and with the town public works department in terms of when that work begins and how those lanes are closed. And we have to live with the Phipps Park issue, which is going to be a major construction project, as you all know. And certainly the closure for at least the next 3.5 years, 4 years of Mar-a-Lago, which creates a huge traffic problem for us. 12,000 cars a day go off the southern bridge and go onto those other bridges. And we cannot, we can't stand that. We've had it up to here. So again, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to us. It sounds like you have heard us to some extent. We are still inalterably against that southern component between Lake Worth Bridge and Ibis Isle Road. This particular project we're talking about tonight, from Ibis Isle Road north to Emerald, has some elements that we'd like to see, but we certainly aren't interested in share roads, and we're certainly not interested in expanding the capacity for bicycles. In fact, we'd rather see less bicycles. So thank you very much.
Yes. John.
It all comes about the bicycles. Something else here. Because of the situation at Mar-a-Lago, I've driven up from my building, which is about 1/10 of a mile down, driven 2.7 miles and gotten turned around by the Secret Service. It happens to all of us. Not only that, but you get a lot of people on this stretch driving 20 miles an hour anyway, because they're older or they're years. I mean, the situation at Mar-a-Lago has been very difficult for all of us. And I think you really need to take that into account. If you want to do this project, I mean, I don't think it's necessary, but for God's sake, wait till after he's out of the White House.
Yeah, Louis, do we have anyone else online that would like to ask a question?
Yes, we do. We have Mark Horning. Mark, I am going to head and unmute your microphone and thank you once again for your patience.
Has he logged off?
He has not logged off, but Mark, are you there?
Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can hear
Yes, we
you,
can.
Mark,
Yes, we
online
can.
and in person.
Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate all you guys have done to set this meeting up tonight. It's been obviously a long evening for everyone, but I'd like a chance to respond to as many things as I can remember as possible. I represent the Florida Share the Road Coalition. We formed our coalition about a little over a year ago when there was a tragic accident in Delray that had some people maimed for life that were riding bicycles. So unfortunately, I'm going to be probably one of the sole cycling representatives tonight, but I will be as accommodating and understanding to everyone's concerns as possible. There are certain things that I think we can all agree to are things we could have not anticipated. And I say that with regards to all of us that ride or live or otherwise recreate in the area, and including the DOT. We could not have predicted administrative changes and road closures up there at Mar-a-Lago, but nonetheless, they are what they are. I do think that there are some safety considerations that make the project necessary. As we all know, there's accidents of increasing magnitude between all users of the roadway. It's not just safety for any one group, but it's safety for everyone. This is a state route that everyone uses and everyone is entitled to use. We're all residents of the state of Florida. We all pay taxes in the state of Florida in one way, shape, or form. And so we should all have equal right to use those. I understand that the sharrows seem to be a very provocative and contentious topic. I think what the DOT has done here in applying them very conservatively and strategically is a way to address the two curves, Sloans and Widener's, in a very accommodating way as best they can. I think we could all agree, and without getting into too many details, that there's certain right-of-way encroachments or restrictions and variances that have been probably passed and paid for over the years that narrows the roadway in certain places that requires those sharrows to be placed, particularly in the southbound between Widener's and Sloan. So realizing that that's probably an insurmountable task to try and acquire more right-of-way and would probably not take 2 to 4 years, but probably 2 to 24 years. So I hear everyone here, and I understand that they're concerned about safety and driving. Other users of the roadway are concerned about use of the roadway themselves. That's cyclists and pedestrians and joggers and everyone included. I think this plan has been put together very well. And I think we need to give them the time to go back and see what they're doing to try and make it happen. I don't think there's a need to fight the sharrows so much as someone, one of the many people that spoke while I've been waiting, mentioned that the sharrows do actually just remind everyone that the bicycles can use the lane when there's not a facility already present, or when the facility, according to statute 316, is otherwise dangerous or full of debris that requires them to use it, or if the road conditions are unsuitable for them to ride in that shoulder or that bike lane. I retract the shoulder portion. The shoulder is not a bike lane. A bike lane has very specific DOT design guidelines that these folks are very familiar with. And as such, with the way that we've all seen how road rage increases all around the state on every road, one could argue that this entire stretch of roadway from Lake all the way to Southern is dangerous in its own right, with people not paying attention, people drifting in and out of the lane, people on their phones, people watching movies, people reading books in their cars, whatever they might be doing. So while we can understand that people might be slowed down for 2 to 3 minutes going to school, taking their kids, what have you, yes, the drawbridges and the Mar-a-Lago thing is difficult. I sympathize with you. I can't possibly imagine what that's like. I don't think anyone is a prisoner in this area. This area is, obviously one of the most fortunate, beautiful parts of the country, if not the world. And we're fortunate to be able to use it and share it together. So if anything, I would like to see them use more sharrows, because if nothing else, it provides people the opportunity and calls attention and gets everyone to kind of get their heads out of whatever they're not watching and watch the roadway and look out for other people, just trying to enjoy the fine roads that you guys do have. I think I'll yield the rest of my time, whatever's left. I probably have another 30 minutes based on how long you waited, but I'll let it go for that for tonight.
Okay, thank you for your comment.
Thank you. The next question is from Owen Sanderson. Are you still here?
Yes, I think a lot of my questions have already been answered, but it dawned on me, from Sloan's Curve north, don't you have a 50-foot easement on the west side of the road?
No, we have a right of way of 40 feet, so within the roadway. So
Okay,
40 feet, but an easement now.
Okay, but I know DOT for safety can take land, and you have green space that could be used west of the road. If you took 5 feet, then you wouldn't need these shared lanes. You said you have enough width for a bike lane from Sloan's Curve north.
Correct.
Going north.
Going north.
It's only the south that is the problem.
Yeah.
Why don't you take 2 or 3 feet from that green space?
Right.
Now would solve the problem, and it would eliminate the problem we have with bikers.
That's a great. Do you have more questions or?
And also, I would like to have the section of law, Florida law, the federal law, if you can give it to me so I can read it. Because I heard one gentleman say, you have a preference, another gentleman say, it's the law. I'm like, I'm an attorney.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. I have it printed out here so I can see.
Sorry, I want to clarify. I wasn't saying that the sharrows are under the law. I was saying that bicycles that don't otherwise have a bicycle facility, the law says that they can use the lane. That's what I'm saying.
So common sense, I think everybody agrees that to have a bike in front of a car, a bike going 10 miles an hour is dangerous. And I would think you would try to eliminate that preference of having a sharrow by trying to take 2 or 3 feet of green space that's available.
Right.
Because you could take it if you want.
So let me address that. Let me address that. So is this thing still on? Can you hear me?
Yes.
So we looked at it, and so a part of this project is the safety improvements, and one of the safety recommendations was to look at feasibility of putting 5-foot bike lanes wherever we could. And so we looked at that area, and as I noted a little bit before, 40 feet. So in that green space, the green space is adjacent to a 0 to 3 foot paved shoulder. And so in that green space, you have a lot. You have people's beautiful driveways, decorative driveways, the landscaping. There's elaborate landscaping there. There's decorative features. $50 million houses. Some people have their walls right up, right behind it.
Now remember, south of Sloan's Curve, you said we're only going to take 2 feet of her lawn for consistency.
So there's the green space we do own, but there is all sorts of stuff there. We need space for signs. We need space for the utilities that were just undergrounded. We need space for those light poles. Where am I going to put the light poles? So there's no place to put that other stuff without acquiring more right of way. And the intent of this project is not to acquire right of way.
Well,
it's to work within the right of way.
I'm just comparing the danger of a shared lane with the inconvenience of engineering and taking 2 feet of green space. That's all. I want you to consider, because really the blood is on your hand. People will die
people are crazy in cars. And if you have a car in front of you, I mean, a bike in front of you, you gotta get to your job. You're gonna be upset, you're gonna lean on the horn, and the guy in the bike isn't gonna move. You know what's gonna happen. And one other question. Do you have any statistics on accidents that have occurred because of shared lanes?
I don't have that information in front of me. I don't have that information in front of me. I do know, I do know that the crashes that have occurred on this corridor. And before we received the project, there was a review of the total crashes within 5 years before we started the design of the project. A lot of the crashes had to do with Sloan's Curve. A lot of the crashes had to do Widener's Curve, mostly to do with speeding and like lane delineation, not being able to see the lanes well. And that's what our safety improvements are really touching on. Now, within 5 years, there was one bicycle crash. And then the next 5 years, there was another bicycle crash. The one that I was able to review had to do with a cyclist was in the shoulder, similar to the situation that there is today. The cyclist was in the shoulder and the driver driving past didn't give the 3-foot separation between the cyclists and tried to pass them as they were leaving. I think they're traversing through Sloan's Curve. And then a crash happened and there was an injury on the bicyclist. So.
And you're right,
Yeah.
try to create bike lane. Don't have a problem. All I'm saying is really take a look at going south if you can pick up a couple more feet. Because then at least you would have a 3-foot bike lane minimum going south. And that would help.
Oh, 3 foot, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Louis, do we have anyone else online that would like to ask a question?
We have questions that folks would like read out loud, if we have the time.
What's that?
We have a few questions that would like to be read out
Yeah,
loud, if we have the time.
Yes, go ahead.
The first question is by KT Catlin. The timing is horrible, as stated by another resident. Additionally, why can't this be done in a way that pulls the bike/walking? As you know, people will walk, and put some green between the bike/people and cars instead of just more paving.
Okay. Yeah, I can address that. Yeah, I mean, ideally, what we would like to do on a state highway is separate the cyclists, the bicyclists from the roadway. And as was mentioned before, there's not a lot of right of way here. It's very constrained. It's a narrow corridor. So, I mean, we looked at that. How can we separate the cyclists more from the roadway? And there just really isn't space without acquiring right of way.
Thank you. I'll take a question.
And I have 2 more.
Louis, we're going to take one from the floor real quick. Is Del Coons still here? Del Coons?
Jeff.
Maybe it's Jeff Coons. Okay.
Yeah.
My evil twin brother. My name is Jeff Coons. I lived in Palm Beach County for 53 years. I was privileged to be an elected official in Palm Beach County for 20 years, and I chaired the MPO for 18 years. I want to thank FDOT for coming in and their consultants. This is probably my 100th FDOT hearing. That road is substandard. It's dangerous. It's dangerous for everyone. State law, federal law mandates. We got this agency that sits, that determines where the federal and state transportation dollars, county dollars. It's a pretty sophisticated group. That's a group that came up with this project to go forward because the road is dangerous. We own it, okay? Bicycle have as much right as cars. It's federal and state law. That's why FDOT is driving this thing. I know what the town wants to do. I have three specific questions. And for FDOT, and particularly for the town manager left in the department, there was a project that FDOT wanted to do on the east side of Sloan's Curve, where it's caving in and going away. And they wanted to put riprap in there because you're losing the right of way. I'd like you, if you could specifically address that. The Sloan's Curve people objected to it. You probably don't know about it, but I mentioned this to they're FDOT owns the property, town owns both sides, stuff like this. That dune is collapsing and it needs to be reinforced. And I think the people from Sloan's Curve might be more amenable because they lost 30 feet of beach and they lost their steps because I walked the beach. So I'd look if you address that. When the drainage goes down Sloan's Curve into the lagoon, I'd like you to take a look at that. It's the area that would be from the north of the end of the sidewalk going back in there. And there's also the lagoon comes right up to within 10 feet of the shoreline there. I want you to take a look at that safety issue. If you want to mitigate something like that, Phipps Park is actually doing mitigation projects. And Phipps Park project is actually 25% of it is in the Lake Worth Lagoon, and they'd love to see more mangroves in there. I chaired the Lake Worth Lagoon Steering Committee. We've done a lot of projects in there. We're doing mitigation. I want to thank FDOT. We got 3 new bridges from them in the last 15 years. Thank you very much forward. You're stuck in a hard spot. This is not a great space to live. I moved 4 years ago down to the Reef condominium. It's not nice being in Palm Beach with all the stuff going on. I would take a look at doing nighttime, or if you can't do it, I would look at Sloan's Curve, which is dramatically unsafe, and do the drainage issues, try and make it safe, and maybe you back off for a while, or you can do it at night. Sure, Mr. Trump can give you the $800,000 to take it to 4 million or 3.2. He's got that cash. He's making it all the time. So I would really, I truly appreciate what you're doing. What's that?
Elon has the money, not Donald.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that. I will make that note to myself. Okay. So I just truly, these people work really hard, but these roads are substandard, and really want to take a look. And like I said, the bicycle people have the rights to take a look at that. So I really appreciate it. I think the best work I did was FDOT work and working with people in the neighborhood and stuff like this. But this is an unbelievable, exceptional process that's going through. It's just like, I mean, it's just, it's unacceptable. You can't get around. So that's what frustrates them. And the only thing they can take it on is this project. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeff. And just to address the Sloan's Curve riprap, to be honest, I don't have.
Well, please look at it.
Yeah, look at it. Okay.
And you can look at the LADAR stuff over the last 5 or 6 years. The cliff is gone. And I think the Sloan Curves get it because they lost their steps to go to the beach. They just restored them about a year ago. They lost 20 feet of the beach.
Okay, so erosion is occurring.
Yeah, and by the way, our beach got restored, which is really cool. And the Sloan's Curve is getting stuff like that. But up there, it's not going to go that far. It's just a safety issue. And the town owns both sides of your right of way up there. So they might be able to take a look at this. If you did the project, Sloan Curve might be the project down. So it could be a nice play.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Louis, you want to take one online?
Yes, John. My next question is from Catherine Lilly, and she states, I echo Susan Riley's comments. This project should wait until the next presidential term. Also, please repeat the proposed schedule. Are you really starting in the spring, which is high season?
Yes.
So the question would be, please repeat the proposed schedule. Are you really starting in spring?
Yeah. So we're starting in May. So it'd be May of 2026. So it'd be after season. That's when construction is projected to start. Does that answer the question?
Thank you.
Mike.
There's probably some overlap.
There'll be some overlap.
One project should be one week.
Okay.
If it's on time. If it's on time.
There will be some overlap, but it should, we're not talking 2 full projects that will be overlapping through this time frame.
Okay, we'll take the next question. Is Mike Leiterman here? The next one is Bruce Rosenzweig, I believe it is. No? No, Bruce? Terry Kemper, I think. Terry or Tori? I think it's Terry. No? All right. Kirk Blue, I think Kirk already spoke. Yeah. And the last one is Shannon. Are you still here?
There's Shannon.
There we got Shannon. You're the last one on the floor.
To be so. I wish I had all the same, I do have all the same questions. Poor timing, like we know the roadway is not safe. I have nothing against bicyclists. I also don't want to run them over, but I also want to get to work. It's very inhibiting, and there should be better planning, better timing. It should be worked out better. 1,000 different ways, which I could bring them up, but.
Thank you. Louis, we'll now go to you online.
Thank you. The next question was from Dennis Miller. What is the logic for making these changes only to Ibis Way and not south of this road and around Sloan's Curve? No widening can occur. Dangerous to cyclists and pedestrians and drivers. And why initiate the work in the spring of 2026 when Trump's presence will still be which would still compromise traffic? And also the construction of Phillips Ocean Peak will affect traffic during this period as well.
It's the same question.
It's the same question.
Same question.
Yeah. I think in regards to the timing, yeah, we've gotten that concern, and we'll look into it. We'll be talking with the department. And with regards to widening the shoulder, there is a south adjacent project that is widening the shoulder there. So and what we said earlier is we're providing consistency so that it is similar from the south project through our project as much as it can be.
I just have one more question to read, and then that concludes everyone's questions online and hands raised.
Okay.
And that last question is from Carly Weinstein again. And she would like to please wait until 47 leaves. Traffic will be better. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your comment.
When is the work going to be done and by the Lake Worth Bridge? That's this summer?
Mike, do you know the answer to that?
Southern job, I believe, is 250 days, about a year. 5 months to a year.
About a year. Okay. And my only concern is that if you take away any of the grass on either sides of the road, then when we have like tropical storms and stuff, then where's the water going to go? Right? We don't have a sewer system like, New Jersey or New York. And where does the water go then? Okay, that's for you.
Sure. And so when we do the drainage design, we've done drainage design and we've done an analysis of that section. With the structures that are already in place right now, they can handle that water, even though we're adding additional pavement. It's a part of the design process. We don't just, add pavement. We have to look at that. We have to look at it because that water, when it drains off, it has to be treated and it has to trickle through the grass and be collected somewhere. So that's a part of the design process. Yeah.
Because in front of the timeline, their exit of their parking lot, there's a huge area of that exit that is completely a puddle anytime you have rain. And it just sits there. It sits there. I live across the street, so, and it's hard to even just walk across the street. You have to walk further around or whatever. So it's an issue.
Is that on the south project, Wandetta, Tideline?
So that's what, I guess my question is, if you're taking away grass on both sides of the road in the south section. On both sides. Yeah, you're right, A1A, both sides. You have to take the long way, the wrong way. Yes. Try to get. So I guess my concern is that we have less grass and less on both sides. On both sides, then, I know you're saying that you study that before it's, the project is done, but, it's a concern because we see it now. We see all this water now and we have grass.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Louis, do we have anyone else online?
No, we don't, and we have no more questions, and nobody has their hand raised.
I have a hand raised.
We have someone here.
This is a comment, not a question,
Okay.
but it's just addressed about tagline and flooding, which is also south of the bridge, is very severe between Sloan's Curve and Wagner's. I mean,
Oh,
that
yes.
is, in that rainstorm this morning, I was driving that way, and all of a sudden it flooded. I mean, and I'm used to it, but it's very scary. And I have a big car, but it's very scary.
Definitely.
That is
Yeah.
really urgent emergency.
Definitely. Yeah. Thank you.
Noted. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Thank you. Definitely. Okay. Thank you.
Like another map of like where Sloan's Curve is, like you're using a lot of, I'm not familiar. But, you know, like this reference. Don't know what you're speaking about, besides from that house to that one.
There's a roll plot behind you. I think we can probably talk.
Take this one off?
You take pictures.
I'll have to take a picture to get the reference, but.
No, everything as part of this invite, and go through, all these files are attached. They will get put on the website.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
We adjourned.
No.
We're getting
Almost.
Yeah, that's almost there. So, all right, just, are there any other questions or comments? All right, I hear none. Okay, thank you to our attendees for the comments and questions. Slide 36, please. We encourage your input and feedback about this project, and there are multiple ways for you to participate. All public comments and questions are part of the public meeting record, and every method for providing public comments and questions carries equal weight. While comments and questions will be accepted at any time, those submitted by Friday, March 7, 2025, which is 10 days after the public meeting, will become part of the project's public meeting record. If your question was not responded to during the meeting, a response will be provided later. If you want to make a formal comment for the public meeting record, please send it through the project website, by mail, or by email to the FDOT project manager, Ms. Vandana Nagol. All registrants will receive a link to the meeting recording and presentation slides. Slide 37, please. At this time, we would like to give another opportunity for those attending both virtually and in person for any additional questions or comments. Any further questions for those still online or virtually or dialed in?
Negative. That concludes the online comment portion.
Thank you. And then any further questions for those in person here? Okay, I hear none. Okay, we have now reached the end of the public meeting. We will now provide you all with a few closing remarks, contact information, and an FDOT safety message. Slide 38, please. Once again, on behalf of the entire project team, I would like to thank everyone for attending this evening's public meeting. The next few slides will contain additional contact information to use as reference after the conclusion of the public meeting. Slide 39, please. If you have additional comments or questions after the meeting, please feel free to contact the FDOT project manager, Vandana Nagol, PE CPM, by email at vandana.nagole@dot.state.fl.us, or by mail at 3400 West Commercial Boulevard, Fort Lauderdale, Florida 33309, or by telephone at 954-777-4281. or toll free at 866-336-8435, extension 4281. After the public meeting, you will receive an online exit survey as we really appreciate your feedback. Slide 40, please. The 2055 Florida Transportation Plan update process is going on now, and FDOT encourages all of our communities and partners to participate in the process. The 2055 FTP will be a comprehensive statewide blueprint guiding Florida's 30-year transportation future. The FTP will have statewide goals and regional objectives, empowering our communities to develop local strategies around the FTP's common framework. This way, the local strategies will be able to fit within the fabric of each community's unique needs. The plan will be developed through steering committee guidance, focus group support, and comprehensive community engagement, both partner and public engagement. Not sure what the FTP is all about or want to learn more? Please visit floridaftp.com to see how you can participate. Join a focus group, attend a webinar or regional workshop, or simply provide your comments and feedback. Join us as we build our transportation future together. Slide 41, please. FDOT is recognizing the Stay at the Scene safety campaign during the month of February. From year to year, Florida has seen the amount of hit and run crashes remain steady, with nearly 25% of all crashes involving a hit and run. Although the majority of hit and run crashes only result in property damage, hit and run crashes can be deadly. The Stay at the Scene campaign aims to reduce the number of hit and run crashes in Florida by educating drivers on their responsibilities if involved in a crash, and the serious consequences they face if they choose not to stay at the scene. Your actions could save a life. Slide 42, please. On behalf of the Florida Department of Transportation, thank you for attending this public meeting and providing your input for the project. As a reminder, please complete our exit survey. This concludes the public meeting. Thank you and have a pleasant evening. The recording of this meeting will now end.